What's up, everybody? This is Jose with Oakland Latinos Unidos, aka Oakland Latinos United, on here with a new video for you to enjoy. Now, the topic I want to talk about today: when you get older, do you get wiser? That's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about how getting older makes you a little bit wiser and how you see life a little bit different than when you were young, you know? And why you're not as rebellious as when you were young. I think I'm still rebellious myself in some ways, but not as crazy. Let's put it at that term. But anyway, I know that I've made a lot of videos in the past, and I kind of sound like this old, kind of whiny, naggy guy. You know, I've made videos like the one, Don't Be a Ward of the State, which is about don't, end up in prison. I made videos in the past about toxic people, toxic friends. I've made videos about friends who have died. I've made videos about, gangs and how to prevent yourself from becoming part of one. I've made videos about a lot of different topics. And sometimes it sounds like I'm preaching to the choir, like I'm just this nagging, little whiny, preachy little chavalita. But it's not that I want to preach or nag to you or judge you. I think it's because I have life experiences. And if I can help the youth from, going down a bad path in life, if I can help in that, hey, I've done my job. Because I do this thing because I really do care. It's not that I do it to preach and hear it sound, tweedle my thumbs and like to hear the sound of my own voice. No, I do this because I actually care about my community. And growing up, like I said, in poverty, growing up in a poor neighborhood, growing up with parents who are working class, poor, immigrants, I had to struggle a lot growing up. Now, my upbringing, I wouldn't say it was bad or good. You know what I mean? Because there was good to it and bad to it as well. My parents were pretty loving. They were there for me. They weren't perfect. But they were poor and they had to work. And a lot of times they weren't there for me all the time. Especially in the daytime and in the afternoon sometimes. Because they were, always working. So, that made me a little street kid. I was always on my bike, riding around, kicking it at my friend's house. I was basically a little latchkey kid, as they call it. And sometimes when you are in that environment, you run into other kids. And many times their intentions aren't always the best. And a lot of times those kids end up becoming, the criminals and the drug dealers and the toxic people I tell you about. And, usually these videos, when I make them, they're not aimed at older people. They're usually aimed at younger people. And it's because as an older guy, I'm 41 years old, I want you to just see what I saw. And I want you to be aware, at least for when you see it, you could be like, oh, okay, that's what Jose was talking about. Okay, And, I've seen it all, you know what I mean? And as far as the Latino community goes, the Chicano, Latino, Raza community in the United States goes, I grew up in a generation where a lot of our youth went to jail. A lot of our youth got killed. A lot of our youth didn't end up doing nothing with their lives. Some of them became toxic people that I talked about. Some of them became violent criminals. And I think in our community, I think we've had enough of those already. Don't you think? I think at 41 years old, I want to start seeing young Chicanos going to school. You know what I mean? Young Chicanos being techs. Young Chicanos owning companies. Young Chicanos running shit. Young Chicanos being political figures. Instead of young Chicanos being fucking gangbangers or drug dealers or dope fiends. I think that shit is old. That shit is old. And I'm old. And I've seen all of that shit. So that's why I try to tell you guys. You know what I mean? Like, don't repeat this fucking bullshit nonsense of failure. But, like I said, I don't want to preach to the choir, you know what I mean? I just want to tell you that in my life experience at 41 years of age, I've seen a lot. When I can think back to when I was 19, or even 16 before I finished high school, I was a fucking knucklehead pendejo. You couldn't tell me anything. I thought I knew it all. I remember what it was like to be young. And no, I wasn't respectful. I'm not even going to pretend like, oh, I was this respectful guy. No, I wasn't. Maybe in some ways I was, but a lot of times, if an adult told me something, I'd be like, fuck you, man. What you know, you fucking old ass. You know? Fuck that nigga, you know what I mean? That was kind of my attitude. You know, but as I got older, I started seeing why some older people would come at me the way they did. And I understood. And I appreciate it now. You know? Thankfully, I've always been a nerd. You know what I mean? Even though I knew some really, really dangerous people, thankfully I always liked, you know, music. I've always liked history. I've always liked learning about the Chicano movement. I've always liked political stuff. You know, I've always liked other music besides just fucking gangster rap music all the time. Thankfully, my mind was open even at a young age. I kind of had this open mind that a lot of people wouldn't understand. Some people from the hood were, like, it was a mystery to them. Like, wow, this guy's weird. He's different. Even girls. I think that was why it was easy for me to like girls when I was young, because I actually just had a very open mind, and some girls were intrigued by it. It superseded my looks, because, well, I am sexy, but, you know. But, yeah, I mean, that's the reason why I talk about the things I talk about, you know. That's why I tell you guys about looking out for toxic people, you know, not becoming wards of the state and going to prison for the fucking jail system, not being gangbangers or you know, getting killed on the streets or being put in dangerous situations. Because I care, man. And I'm not one of those people like these old fucks that want to talk shit about the youth. I don't talk shit about the youth. You know what I mean? A lot of these guys that talk shit about the youth because they're old and their prime is done. And they're never going to be young again. And they realize that they're going to die one day. And they see these kids that are having fun and they want to talk shit about them. I'm not like that. I'm trying to live my life like a rock star even at 41 years old. I'm a musician. You know what I mean? I go out, I hang out, I have fun, I travel, and I do a lot of things. So I'm not one of those dudes who's just going to sit there and wait to die and complain about everyone else. Fuck that. Leave that shit for the birds or for the people that have no balls. But anyway, you know, I don't talk shit about the youth or about the things they're doing because they're the youth. They're doing their thing. You know, just like when I was a youth. Yes, the music seemed better then. Things seemed better then. Things seemed simpler then because times seemed simpler to us because we were simpler. You know? But that doesn't mean that to the kids now, you know, we may not like their music. Hey, I don't like modern rap music or any of that, a lot of the stuff. Or modern Latino music. A lot of it, I just not feeling it. But that doesn't mean I'm going to talk shit about those who like it. Those who like it, they like it. You know what I mean? And that's how it is. And I think sometimes the old or the OGs or the old timers are to blame at times. Because a lot of times our own actions and the way we do things, we don't teach the youth. We just yell and nag and point the finger or talk shit about them. And we can't do that. We got to be there for our youth. We got to be there for our young raza. Because they are going to be the future. They are going to be the ones taking care of us when we get old. When we're in our deathbeds. They're the ones that are going to be ruling the world then. And instead of setting them up for failure, we should start setting them up for success. You know? And to the youngsters that are like, fuck the OGs, I mean, I could understand. Some OGs, I mean, they make themselves out to be said fuck you to. You know, some of them are drug addicts. Some of them are doing shit with their lives. Some of them are in and out of jail. You know? And the youngsters see that. I'm like, who the fuck is this dude to tell me something? You know? But even sometimes some OGs might tell you something because they don't want you to go down the same path they went to. So maybe if they're telling you something wise or of wisdom, listen to it. You know? But, yeah, I mean, I think I've gotten wiser compared to when I was 19 or in high school. I was a fucking pendejo back then. You know, I was a fucking idiot. I didn't know nothing about the world. You know what I mean? At 16, I was still a fucking virgin. Literally. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's just, you know, I'm wiser. I've seen a lot. I've traveled a lot. I've been to a lot of places. I've seen a lot of situations, good and bad. You know, I lost my parents already, so I know what that feels like. It's not a beautiful feeling, you know. I've lost friends. I've lost friends to death or jail, you know, or to the streets, you know. And I've seen it all. I've seen a lot. To be 41, I've seen a lot. And maybe one day, right now, some guy who's 19 is watching this video. And when he's 41, he's going to be like, fuck, Jose was right. That Oakland Latinos United dude back in the days on YouTube, he was right. He said the same shit that I'm seeing now. I'm seeing a lot of shit that I didn't see back then. You know what I mean? And that's just reality. That's just how life is. Well, that's all I really have to say. Yes, when you get older, you do get wiser. It's just how life is. And when you're young, have fun. But take the time to hear the elders and hear what they have to say. Don't just write them off. And that's all I have to say. This is Oakland Latinos United. Late.